Mic check, mic check. Welcome to another episode of Bull City Bravest podcast. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Tim McCoy, and today I'm sitting between two legends, two giants in the industry. We got former captain Charles Thaxton, and we have current captain Travis Melvin. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining today. How you guys feeling?
Good. Appreciate inviting us.
Feeling good. No, I appreciate you guys both, your time for just coming out and sitting here with us. I got some friends back there. Patrick, how you going, man?
Hey, sorry, yep, I'm mic'd up. Hey, I'm doing great. Captain Melvin, I don't know if you are familiar with this or not, but you're kind of a running legend just on this podcast. This is our 14th episode, and I think that you have come up in somebody's story at least once in every single one so far. So the people have been asking, they wanted you here. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, like Patrick said, like everyone, your name, Gray name, he's brought up a lot. He comes up. So you guys are currently being brought up, so now it's good to put a face with it. And we're gonna talk about some things. So we're gonna get into you guys' background, your history, and then you're just gonna talk about things that we got going on. So first off, I'm gonna let the senior captain here talk about him and just how he starts. So Captain Thaxton, can you give us like just a little bit of your history, your background, how you got into the fire service, and basically how you got to where you're at right now?
Right. I graduated from Durham High in '77. I went to college right after that. I wanted to go to the fire department, straight from high school to the fire department. Of course, my mama made me go to college, so I went to college. Then
we're not speeding through this now.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is a few years later, I got hired on the fire department in '87, and everything has been good since then.
Hold on. How does go? I knew you Cap Thaxton is camera shy. But listen, this is what we're going to do. All right.
Go ahead.
You were born in Durham.
I was born in Durham.
Durham native. Raised up in a house, right? Right? And so, when you were younger, did you have any ambition to be a firefighter?
Always. I've always wanted to be a fireman all my life. When I was a kid, I'm say probably 6 or 8 years old, I used to always go to number 1 and number 2 for a tour. I ride my bike over there. And everybody say, "Oh man, you crazy for doing that?" I said, "This is all I ever wanted to do."
What street you go up on?
Maxwell Avenue.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you used to ride the 1 and 2.
Right. I was in between number 1 and number 2 stations, so I ride my bicycle there to visit the station.
So how was that as a kid? Those guys warm and welcoming? Were they like?
Some of them was. Then some of them said, "You need to stop coming here," because I was coming so much. Yeah.
Oh no, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
All right. So you went through school. You're a big fella. How tall are you?
6'5".
Because we talk about giants, you're 6'5".
It's 6'5".
Did you play any sports in school?
Played basketball. Like I said, I graduated from Durham High, All-American and all that good stuff.
Hold on. How you know about the new Durham High is about to be? They're about to.
It's too close to my house now, and there's too much traffic.
Oh, that is right there.
Yeah, that's right.
It's for those that don't know. Durham High is now DSA, and DSA Durham School of Arts.
Right.
Is now moving on to Duke Homestead.
Right.
Which is in your
in my back door. It is too close to my house.
Look, but it's still Bulldogs. You can go watch the games and stuff.
It's still too much traffic. Yeah.
All right, so you graduate Durham High, and you want to go straight to the fire department?
I want to go straight to the fire department, but I went to East Tennessee State University and played basketball for 4 years. Graduated, and then I messed around for a few years, and then finally got on the fire department.
Now, yeah, you speed through this, and speed through it.
All right.
So, at the time, what year did you graduate high school?
77.
77. So they would have still been public safety.
Public safety, right.
Well, so when you went to Tennessee High School, you said you went for 4 years, right? Graduated East Tennessee High School.
East Tennessee State University.
You went on basketball?
Well, basketball scholarships.
Okay, all right. What position you play?
Forward.
Forward.
Big forward and small forward.
And a small basketball. I get that.
Yeah.
I got it. So you went there, you graduated. So what year did you graduate college?
1981.
So what year did you apply to the DFE?
I think I first applied in about when they first switched I applied then, but didn't get on. I went through the process, didn't make it the first time, so then I applied again about a year or so later, and then I was on the list, and I got on the second time.
So what year was that?
87.
So from 81,
Right.
graduated, until 87?
Yeah, so I applied when they switched from public safety. What I did was when I graduated, I came here, and I stayed about a year. Went down Lowell, stayed a couple of years, then I come back. Come back, and I applied, and so I got on the second time.
Was it hot Atlanta? So you got 87. They split from public safety at 86. So at 87,
87.
You were in on, and that was strictly. So you were in the first.
I was in on the fourth class. Yeah, fourth class, 87. Yeah,
And that's what.
they was running back to back because remember they were short. Our class was only 6 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it wasn't EMS and all this stuff. It was just strictly fire.
All right, we're gonna put a pin on that. We're gonna get to that in a second. Cat Melvin, your story is a little bit different. Tell the people your background and how you came about to the fire service.
Also, he took my story from me. All I ever wanted to do was be a firefighter. So, when I was a kid, the house across from me burned down, and I just remember standing in the yard, just fascinated by it. I was always interested in the fire service. There was never a time I remember not wanting to be a firefighter. I used to love watching the show Emergency. I'd cry like a baby if I could watch Emergency. That was my show, Kung Fu Theater, Emergency. And they started back when I was just born. So they would run reruns and stuff. So all I ever wanted to be was a firefighter. I'm born and raised in Durham. I live on Barbie Road.
So listen, we're in Black History Month. I just want to take a second to point this out. So, in Emergency, did you ever watch the episode they talk about the Freedom House?
Absolutely.
So, since we're in Black History Month, I can tell it, or if one of you guys want to tell about the Freedom House, go and tell it. So basically, the Freedom House was formed. It was basically the first version of EMS for the whole United States. There was no EMS service before that. A physician, he got a bunch of black people and trained them up in EMS and medical training, and they pretty much, because services back then were, you just went in a hearse, right? Like, I went to the hospital and sell kite.
Correct. The horse will pick you up.
So they created, so the Freedom House was basically making the medical service more efficient for that area, and they actually laid down the groundwork for what we know as the EMS system then. And so Emergency, they nodded that out as well in that TV series. So interesting you brought that up. For the life of me, I can't remember. It was just Freedom House started. I don't know if it was Philadelphia. I feel like it was somewhere up north. I can't remember that. Baltimore? No. King. Look it up. We'll research. Look it up. I'll actually Google it while we're talking. But so did you know any firefighters growing up?
Captain Lyons lived 5 houses down from me. And he was one of the original 13 of Station 4. So I got to aggravate him when I was a kid because he was the firefighter in his neighborhood. So I ride my little bike over there and ask him 10,000 questions and aggravate him. But I was in a volunteer area back there. Back then, Barbie Road was in the county. So like Charles would ride his bike over to there, I would get taken over to Parkwood and aggravate them, ask questions, go to the barbecues and chicken dinners and all that. And just anytime we went by. And see, back then, they didn't have pages and all that stuff. A big siren go off if you had a fire. So I was always here when they were having fire. For the volunteer departments. They never had a big siren and went over top. So whenever there was a fire call, there was a fire call because you hear the siren go off. So when I had a dirt bike back there too. So I might try to sneak over and get close to see what was going on and sort of be in the area and see what was going on.
Mama Melvin let you have a dirt bike.
Well, they were building 40 back then. There was no 40, man. So you got to understand, you used to ride down there. That was our train. So I grew up, the 1 years of my life growing up. I grew up in a neighborhood where they were starting to build a subdivision in the back and stop. So they had the roads. There were dirt roads cut in the back of my neighborhood where they didn't finish, back where Crooked Creek is now, the Walgreens in the back of my neighborhood.
Yeah.
So everybody would come over there and there was a big track. The guy who built our neighborhood lived in our neighborhood. And we rode motorcycles back there on the roads until they developed it.
Good gracious. What year were you born?
75, man. I'm 50. There are people older than me on the ride of something else.
You no, there are, but you were born when Captain Thaxton graduated high school. Well, he graduated 74. Right?
I graduated 77.
77. Oh, well, you're still a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a young man.
Great gracious of you saw dirt. I don't have any grass.
Yeah.
What they have with you?
Well, you know,
A grass field.
I lived on the dirt road, and it's still dirt.
I'm joking, man. Hey, man, y'all look older and full of wisdom. So hopefully I reach that age. All right, so you Captain Lyons was part of Original 10, lived across the street from me.
He lived down in neighborhood. If you go down, he lives in the corner of Yellow. Well, I'm not gonna give his address, but
Yeah.
he lives in the Urbanwood subdivision.
Okay.
And his house, literally, if you walk out the back of my house, walk 5 houses down, that's where his house is.
And did he did you talk to him about that?
I mean, like I said, I was aggravated. I wanted to be about the fire service, so I know he was tired of me. But I mean, we was neighborhood kids. He was a good guy, so
So
he was real with it.
So what school did you go to?
I went to Jordan. I graduated from the Charles E. Jordan Senior High School.
Falcon.
Sir.
So what year did you graduate?
1993.
93. So your journey after you graduated.
Wasn't after I graduated. In high school, I was floating around Parkwood, and I joined Parkwood April 27th, 1993. That's the 93. And so you could join the fire department in the high schools. They had juniors, and then you could actually be a full member in 18 and start getting your certifications. So I started getting my certifications and weekend classes after I joined.
Mm-hmm.
So I became a certified firefighter, going to classes, taking classes all over the place before I even got in my first academy.
Now, at the time, was any city people at Parkwood?
Very few. So Tony Behringer was a Parkwood member. He's a captain in the city of Durham. His brother was ended up being a chief at Andy. Was chief at Parkwood eventually, but he was a captain when I first started volunteering.
Shout out to Tony Behringer. He was captain on A Shift Engine 10 when he retired. So he was there. You was volunteering at Parkwood.
Yeah, there were a couple other people, but back then you gotta understand it was a different time. Parkwood didn't really mess with the city. The city didn't mess with Parkwood. Volunteer departments in the city didn't get along very well back then. That's a whole rabbit hole I'm not going down. But it was absolutely true. You talk to any old heads that there was a lot of, you didn't mess around with it. With the exception of Lebanon and Bethesda, because a lot of city guys, Chief McDonald was at Lebanon at the time, and he was a city firefighter, and he was the chief of Lebanon. And a lot, like everybody worked at Bethesda.
How did you feel about the county station?
It didn't bother me because I was in the city. So it didn't bother me until I came, like I said, went to 12. That was later on during that time. But didn't have no dealings with volunteers, anything, So I was strictly city.
So all right, you graduated high school and you applied to the city right away?
So I had to wait until I was 18 because I turned 18. So the class they had before me was that February, so I couldn't get in that one. So I had to wait until apply for the next class, which I joined the city fire department in 94, June 20th, 94, but I had the job offered like April. I know I was coming already. I was just waiting. So I went to Parkwood, started at Parkwood, went through my first academy, which was an academy called the Triangle Challenge Academy. And it was a academy that was hosted through Triangle J, and its goal was to find diverse Black History Month, non-traditional firefighters to supply the municipalities around them because they were having challenges having a non-traditional, any 18 to 25 white males were all you were getting from volunteer fire departments because that was Peter System to fire service. So they were looking for people that were either outside of their age bracket or outside of their income bracket. We did have white males that were in there too, like Grant Hall, who ended up just retiring this past year. Shout out to Grant, who was he was staying at Lebanon, so he was able to be outside of the economic bracket, and they were able to get him in that academy as well. So it was just looking for people that were not your traditional 18 to 25-year-old white male firefighter. And I went through that, and it was actually hosted by a combination of Durham at their training grounds and Chapel Hill at their training grounds. So literally, I went through what I would have gone through in the Durham Academy, which I basically graduated the academy and turned right back around and went through the Durham Fire Academy right after that. After going and getting all the certifications on my own.
Oh, we're like 20.
The
Same thing happened to me. I was in volunteer service, and wasn't about how I got into it, because you're part of that story. I went through volunteer service, and I went through an academy that was held at Chapel Hill, but it was a Durham Tech Academy, but it was the only year they held it at Chapel Hill. And then right after I graduated Durham Tech Academy, like 2 months later, I started the City of Durham Academy. So that was interesting. So what year was that you started Durham?
June 20th, 1994.
94. All right. Now, when you go, you went to your academy with 6 months.
Right.
How was that?
No, actually mine was 6 weeks.
6 weeks. I'm sorry.
Right, 6 weeks.
6 weeks. So a month and a half.
Right.
What was your academy experience? How was your training? Like, was it hard nosed, old school, like, or was it like,
Actually, it was fun. It was fun. I think it was 16 of us. And, of course, I was in the back, and I was even though I started at 27, I wasn't one of the oldest. I was not even in the middle. I was more like towards the younger guys. We had an old class. A lot of these guys that's in my class, some of them come from, GE when they were laying off, and some of them got hired through the city and all that stuff. So they were much older than most of us.
Okay.
But I enjoyed it. It was fun. Like I said, the only thing we did was just fire, strictly fire. No EMS, anything like that. Mm-hmm.
Are you still in touch with your academy mates?
Yes. I still talk to at least, I'm going to say probably about 4 or 5.
Okay.
And so they doing well and stuff. And
Charles, who were your training officers in the academy?
it was Captain Sutherland, Captain Leathers, and I think that was it. Those two.
So what was the turnout gear like? I see some pictures.
Ours was black.
Uniforms at some time.
Yeah.
So what was the uniform at that time, and then what was that turnout gear like?
Our uniform was gray, gray pants, gray shirts, and all that. And then our turnout was all black.
Were you quarter boots, or did you have like actual like pants?
No,
Turnout pants. And stuff?
we had turnout pants and the boots and all that stuff to go along with it.
Now, what was the mindset behind air packs? Were they still like the?
No, we wore air packs. No, you had to wear air packs and stuff. When you got on trucks and stuff, they had air packs, even though some of the older guys were saying you don't need to wear them, but yeah, we wore.
Were they still bottles?
Yeah, right.
Elephant trunks, or I'm not the elephant trunks.
Yeah.
With the okay. Now, so when you graduated the academy, you did your 6 weeks. Where'd you go? What was your first house?
My first assignment was at Station 7. I spent 22 months on Duke Street. That was a difficult time at the time, but I made it through. Best time was when I went to number 2. I had a ball, but number 7 was different. First assignment, dealing with people of different cultures and all that, but it was okay.
I would say it was difficult if you remember it down to the month. You said 22 months. Mine was it was torture for 22 months.
22 months.
22 long months.
Many a day I said, I don't need this.
Now, it was just an engine at that point?
Only an engine. We was only running fire calls.
Were y'all least busy at that moment or that time?
We would probably run, it depends, 2 to 3 calls a day. Strictly fire. Holy.
Okay. And what was your first assignment, Captain Melvin?
So mine was a little different. We did the FTO program when we came out, where you got checked off by your FTO, field training officer. Mine was Captain Tommy Hayes at Station 7. Then I got my assignment with the Station 5 with that joke over there.
That was the best thing he had. Believe me.
Okay.
Come to me, I saved his career.
So, we can go skip through. We get to this part. All right, y'all. So y'all work together. So tell me how that went. Like tell me your introduction to
Travis was young, very young, in the time, very immature, but very young. He was a go-getter. Plus he was working with older guys. And at times you had to slow him down. I got stories after stories to tell you, but I'm quite sure Travis won't me to tell you all that. Yeah, but he was good. He was just young.
Oh, we definitely gonna get the story time. We got to get stories because he like to tell embarrassing stories about me. So we gonna get into stories about Travis. Your impression going to. So how long had you been on to the fire department at this particular time?
When
You went to him at 5.
So I mean, I got out the academy. Our academy was like 3 months, something like that. It wasn't that long. Like my academy, we did the first responder program. We were not EMTs yet. The Durham Fire Department just started the first responder program in '93.
Okay.
So I got my EMT already at Parkwood.
Okay.
So I had my EMT, and like I said, I got my certifications. Well, in my academy, we didn't get state certified. We got Durham certified. So, but then like firefighter 1 and 2 was a rank, not a certification that you got. So when I came into the fire department, luckily for me, I had my firefighter 3, which is like your firefighter 2, but the TR stuff too. And then I had my EMT as well. And then in the academy, I got my EMT. D was the defibrillation, so we could shock people.
So in '93, so this is interesting because I hear people talk about it, our older guys talk about it. So in '93, Durham started its first responder program. For those that don't know what first responder versus EMT, first responder is like just basic first aid, being able to do CPR, right? Where EMT was a little more in depth. As an older gentleman, you came on the department, y'all didn't do EMS, right?
Yeah, but when I came on, I had my EMT before I got hired. I went to Durham Tech to get mine, so I had mine through the state.
Why'd you get your EMT?
Because that was something that I started taking classes before I got hired because I wanted to get some more knowledge of fire department. So they told me, well, just take an EMT class. I took an EMT class, and then I got my certification. I had mine way before. My EMT way before they started here in Durham.
Okay, yeah, and I know a lot of people as when I'm out recruiting, it's a lot of people that ask me, they're like, "Yo, should I do my EMT?"
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on it?
Yes, they should if they get a chance to take the Durham Tech because it's a slower pace, and a lot of people don't know about EMS or first responders or stuff. So they go to Durham Tech and take it. It's a slower pace. It's not as fast as it is when you do it on duty.
All right. Now, with that being said, so you were familiar with EMS, right?
Yes.
But when you got hired, the department wasn't. What was that thought process of the department or people in the department when we had to go to?
They didn't want it. Older people didn't want it. They didn't want to do it at all. Actually, to be honest, back then, EMS saved our jobs because it was slow. They were trying to figure out what to do with us. They come with ideas. One of them was that we could ride behind the garbage truck, pick up garbage until we get a call, and then you break off. They were trying to come up with all different things. And so EMS saved us. Yeah.
Okay. So with you, Captain Melvin, going to 5, you already had your EMT as well. Now you're doing EMS and running. And you meet this guy. What's your first impression of your crew and Captain Thaxton? Or at the time, I think were you a driver then, or?
Yeah, I was a
driver.
So first of all, we had a crew that was very interesting. You think about this crew now. It's myself, okay? Charles Thaxton is my driver. All right? Chief Atkins, the legend himself.
The Bulldog.
Bulldog was, I can't, before they knew, the meds were out there for everybody and calm them down. That's the Bulldog. The fire marshal in Durham now, Jody Moore, the city fire marshal.
Okay.
And the chief of Charleston Fire Department, Dan Currier.
Y'all had 5 people assigned.
We had 5 people assigned.
First of all, Chief Atkins or Chief Currier, if any one of you want to come in and do the podcast, I would love to have you guys. But okay, so you had a very diverse group there,
right?
Of personalities in general,
right? At Stir Creek, Chief Atkins loved to death, but I mean, everybody probably says I act like him now anyway. So everything I say about him, I get accused of the same thing too.
Do you want to? Okay, well, since you're talking about that, do you want to talk a little bit why Chief Atkins has named the Bulldog?
He was very stern. I will say this. He was very direct. He was old school public safety. There were a lot of things about him you didn't know at the time as far as relationships, who he got along with, who he didn't get along with. He worked at Bethesda too, so he had relationships with the paramedics because they worked in fire stations at the time. So we were running calls. One call, everything's going well. We're helping the people. The next call, he's short with the people. I don't know. It's because the relationship you have, and he has the history with these people, the people that are going to work hard and the ones not. So, like, trying to navigate that world and understand how that is. Well, man, talking about stern and put that mouth on you quick. It was a different time. It was very, when they say paramilitary, it was very much more military back then. It's like,
They say that, yet they say this man is like him. That's all I'm saying. So, but you had the Bulldog, but you also had driver Thaxton here. I mean, you won't no slouch either. Now, I mean, when I met you, when I first encountered you, you was very stern, very hard nosed type person, and your advice as a young firefighter to me was like, go ahead and get your education. Go ahead and get your relief driver. You was telling me to get as much as possible as I can. And so,
fast if you can.
So y'all had a diverse crew, right? You come in there. What was it like, man? What was that? I mean, it sounds like y'all sound like y'all have a lot of playful banter with each other. So I can imagine the station was off this chinging.
Sometimes it was playful, sometimes it was not. I can just tell you, it was a lot of personality in there. And I'll say this. We were all different, but when that bell hit, we were on it. It was like the wax on, wax off. You didn't realize some of the stuff you were going through at the time was to make sure everybody was sharp and on their stuff, right?
Uh-huh.
So, like, I'll get into that fire later when you bring that up. But when it was time to perform, we performed. But, it was a lot of different personalities. Because, Jody, the Joker, Jody's always funny, smooth. But, we're not going to get, when we're about Kool-Aid, we're not going to get Kool-Aid, we're going to get Wellers. He's tight with $1 now. So,
hey, shout out to Chief Morton. Hey, Chief Morton is very good money. That's why he's he's very good money.
Yeah. Chief Curry was on his education. He was about, he was focused. We knew he was going to be a chief. We knew at that time that at some point he was going to be a leader. And I mean, and then Chief Atkins was what he was, and then Charles.
Yeah, Chief. So
Charles, he liked to assert dominance. He's sort of a big dude. I think I'm in the best shape of my life. Out of 2 academies, working out all the time. Worked at the gym part time. I go in there, throw 300 up, think I'm doing something. Then he come in there ripping 15 times. So yeah, the way
was he really throwing 300 up?
No, more like 100. Yeah, more or less 100. Well, we had a good time at fire. We had some good time. We had a bunch of stories.
Was he hard headed?
He was hard hit, very hard hit. I give you an example. Tell this one. We had a shooting on the top of Hill Road. I got shot with shotgun and all that stuff, load and go and all that. It was chaotic. They loaded the guy in. Travis got caught in the medic truck. So that day we were riding with 5. And so I said, where's Travis? I said, man, I don't know. He said, what? I said, but what Travis? No. But Travis got stuck in the ambulance, went to the hospital. Normally we get a call when we go to the hospital, all of us get off the truck, go there, play around with the nurses and all that stuff, talking. This particular day, I said, all of y'all stay on the truck. Get off the truck. No, get off the truck. Yeah. He come back with Travis. He hollering and cursing at Travis and pointing at Travis. He said he got Travis on the truck. He hollered from the hospital back to the station. Got Travis in the station, got him in the office. Come here, Travis. Hollered up some more. Travis come in the office crying. I said, man up. I said, man up, dude. I said, come on. I said, you know better. They're man up. He cried and stuff. So I just called everybody in. Well, me and Jody come from Station 2. So he didn't like us. He called us number 2. He said, y'all come from number 2. Y'all think that I'm saying stuff, which Atkins had his way, but we always thought he was joking. So when he say stuff, Joe would laugh at him, which of course that upset him more and more. So when he get upset, sometimes he would take it out on Travis. He would go to the office or whatever. But on that particular day, Travis cried. I said, look, dude, man up, stop this crying. You got to man up. Yeah.
And my version of it is, I love the job, and I wanted to choke him. And I was crying tears because I was in my mind making the decision of whether I was going to hurt this man because he was pushing me. And I was like, I thought I was doing the right thing. I jumped in the medic truck because I was working on this man, and the door shut, and we took off. It wasn't like I was like, can I please ride to the hospital? Thought I was doing the right thing. Next thing I don't know, I'm getting cussed out. So, yes, I was hot, but we worked it out. Yeah, we worked, and it made me grow a lot.
Now, at some point, and I don't know if this is during your time or not, 5 became the TRT station. Were y'all there during that time?
No, we was gone.
That's what actually wake us up. This group.
So how long were y'all together as a group?
Jeez. So we left 96. Whenever the TRT team started, we had to leave. I left there and went to Station 1. I was started on C shift, and I went to A shift, ladder 1 in January of 96. So I was there from basically 94 to 96.
90 at Station 5.
Yeah. Outside of my FTO.
Now, how long were you at Station 5 for?
I was there longer because I got my first assignment as a driver. I went from Station 2, then I got promoted to 5. And I stayed at 5 until they booted us out from TRT. And I can't remember. I was probably there about 4 years.
4 years? So you were there 2 years, you were there 4 years. Now, in those 2 years, like you already told one story about just Travis being hard-headed and Cat Melvin.
That's all over again.
I mean,
that's not I ain't told.
That's funny because you get on you just a young go-getter, and he get on his young go-getter the same way. So, some would say, where's the grace? But tell me something, like, do y'all have any memorable calls that you guys ran together? I'm sure you probably had several. I mean, 5's always been like a busy type district. Best of both worlds, some would say. You got your higher end districts and you have your lower end district as well. So what would you say, just a memorable call for you?
5 was a good station. The one that everybody know about is the one we had at Oak Ridge. We were not dispatched. They dispatched 4, I think it was 6, ladder 1 or whatever. Ladder to the call. We wasn't dispatched, and I kept saying, I believe it's our call. I just got 5. No, I've been there for a while, but that part I really wasn't that familiar with. And I said, I think I remember this Oak Ridge. And I told Axel, said, I believe it's our call. He said, well, I said, Oak Ridge. He said, yeah, that's us. So we jumped on the truck.
Hold, pause. So when you say, yeah, that's us, that means your district.
No, it was 4's district, but it was our second.
Our second.
Okay. So it was 4's primary district.
Right.
That's what that was 4's primary district. All right.
Good. That's important. So like we beat 4 now all the time.
Yeah.
They try to shake things up so they don't keep getting beat. It was 4's district, but we arrived first. It's the theme of my career, by the way.
Yeah, we were not dispatched, but we beat them to the call. When we got there, it was kind of like a cartoon. That's why I look at fire blowing out every door, everyone. You had city employees and stuff. They had kids inside. They were trying to get them out, but there was so much smoke and so much heat that they could not go in. So Travis, Atkins, Jody, and when they found those kids and got them out.
Oh, you skipping through. Let's build up the suspense.
Oh, okay.
All right. So y'all get dispatched. It's a structure fire call, but y'all don't get dispatched. What was the run for that? What units were dispatched?
It was, I think it was engine 4, engine 6. He said ladder 11 was dispatched.
2 engines and a ladder, which is way different than what we do today, right?
A rescue one.
This was when you pull up to Oak Ridge, is a house, apartment? What is it?
It's a house.
It's a house. All right. So you're riding back with, I'm assuming Chief Mort was in the back.
It was me and Chief Morton in the back. Chief Curry was out sick of work.
And he was there. What happened was we got backstage from training. We was getting ready to get our meals, and we was getting ready to send somebody to the store to get our dinner. But a call come in, which is great. Come in before they could go, before one person could go to the store. And so everybody got on the truck, and we went to
Yo, I'm trying that shit Curry, man.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. We had 5 people.
We had 4 people that day. You showing your age, sir.
Yeah.
Chief Curry, on that call.
He was there.
We have a little debate here, disagreement, whether they're riding heavy, whether they're riding super heavy or heavy. For those that don't know, for us,
I still have the thing at my house with the write-up and stuff on my door at my house.
all right, well, so, because you're the senior captain,
You don't believe me?
I'm going to believe you. All right. Now, they were riding heavy. For those that don't know what riding heavy is anything that's like 4 or more. Typical staffing for our minimum staffing for our trucks are 3. So to have 4 and even 5 is just amazing. So they ride super heavy. All right. So Travis, you're the driver. You're pulling up on the way there. It's like I know with us, we see a header. We're like, we got one, boys. Like, what's the
So we knew beforehand, that it was a work of fire because I was on the phone with a communicator when the call came out.
You've been tapped in with communications for a long time, man. Hold on. Let's see. There's a rumor about Captain Melvin getting calls before the actual call goes out. That's how he's able to beat people in districts. We're not going to get into much to that, but all I'm saying is a theme here that he was on the phone with a communicator and he already knew it was a fire. Go ahead. Go ahead.
There's a communicator who's a firefighter. I will keep his name out of it. But they called me when he heard the call taker come in. So I already knew that it was sounding like it was working fire. Then the city employees were there too, so they were calling it in. So when we're en route, from the time we got on the truck and started heading that way, we're just getting update after update after update about it's burning, multiple calls. The city employees broke out a window trying to get them out. They can't get them out. So we knew the whole way there that they were confirmed trapped. And it was on fire by city employees there. And the first thing we saw when we pulled up was a family member in the yard screaming at the top of the wall. That's the first thing I remember pulling up.
Sheesh. Talking about what type of city workers were there? You can't say city.
The people work over on 3rd Floor.
Okay.
Because 3rd Floor is right there.
Okay.
You want?
So y'all around, you already know. There's nothing more exciting, and I say this, and like not being disingenuous or wishing bad on anyone, but as a firefighter, we train and we like to put our skills to works. So it's nothing more exciting to hear that you actually have an actual working job. But this one's a little more pressure because you're getting reports of subjects trapped, right?
Multiple kids trapped.
Oh yeah, it's kids as well. Now, some will say in the fire service, dealing with kids is one of the hardest things to deal with when you have a call or a situation where you have to respond to kids. So you were locked in, focused, ready to go, or?
Well, it's sort of weird because, not funny, but how Charles was driving the wheels off that truck. And when we came across the bridge over Chapel Hill Boulevard, we slid over the Cornwallis Road the whole way. And while he was sliding there, Atkins was hanging out the window, giving somebody the business because they were in our way.
Right.
So it was, in a very serious moment, something that made you laugh because it was like, we're sliding. He had control. He was getting it. The Simon Duplex was slide on it. So he had to drop. And he's driving, and Atkins is giving that man the business out the window. So we're laughing about that in the back. But break. And then the next best feeling, when we're approaching South Roxborough Street, and we can see Ford coming up the hill, and we turn in front of him, just gave a little wave.
What crew was on 4 at that time?
It was Captain Blackwell, Greg McGee. No, it was Captain Blackwell, Greg McGee, and Derek Abney.
Oh yeah, Derek. Whoever, somebody. Greg
Short.
McGee.
Who's his dad worked at IBM. What the short guy? I can't remember who was driving. Ski Larry drove on Black.
Chief Reams. Anybody want to come in and clear the story up? Please come in. But so you guys, when you pull up, I'm assuming you guys didn't think you were gonna be first, or did you know you were gonna be first?
No, it was a second dude, and I don't know the area like that. I'm a rookie.
But like I said, we wasn't dispatched. And we just went off. So he wasn't dispatched to talk.
All right, so you get the lines, you get them ready, whatever the case may be. Tell me what it was like as you.
So it was one of those things. You know how we had the little short ladders on the truck now? We needed that for that because the house, the way it was a corner house. Well, I'm not going to say exactly where it was, but you had to walk down a little bit of a hill to get to it. And everybody was in front of the window. And it was through the roof on the left side of the house and out of all the windows front and back, all the way up to this one bedroom. So the one bedroom that you had to go into, sort of through a ladder there, and we had to climb up the ladder awkwardly, break out the window, and Jody and myself jumped in the window, and the door had not failed yet. But as soon as we broke out that window, got in the room, the door failed at the top, and a fireball came on top of our head and came out the top of the window. So Chief Atkins was at the window on the ladder initially. Then he came in, and he was sort of at the door. So Jody went search right, I searched left. Then we sort of handed the kids to him. He handed them out one.
I want to take this time to give out a public service announcement. Doors save lives. So does smoke detectors, but doors, in this case, closed doors save those kids, right?
It definitely held it back.
30 minutes is fire rated. It's typically what doors are rated for, 30 minutes. So, having that means between a door and a fire is very important and vital. And it seems in this situation was very vital.
And the other challenge we had back then we had fog nozzles and we did 30 degree and whip it. So we knew if we opened the nozzle, we would sting them and cook them.
Right.
So we made the decision, the nozzle, they got fed up into the window, where we made the decision not to flow any water and just try to search or find them. So the fire was baking down over top of our heads. So was it Chief Beck, right? Chief Beck was the chief?
Yeah.
I remember hearing the chief screaming outside at us inside to flow water because they're watching the fire come in the room down on top of us while we're searching. And literally it was like, I found one under bed. I'm not exactly sure where Jody found his. I can't remember. And then we were looking for the third, and the third was up under a bunch of the clothes and stuff to knock stuff off the bed, search around the bed and all that. And we sort of grabbed it together.
Are they still conscious?
One was conscious. I know of the other two. I couldn't really check. And then we had them out the window, and they all went in one medic truck.
Okay.
And McDonald drove it.
Yeah. But the thing of it is that everything was not for those kids to die that day.
Mm-hmm.
Because all the medic trucks was on that side of town, all the chiefs was on that side of town. So not to run things ahead, like you said, I think from the initial call to those kids got to the hospital, I think something like less than 15 minutes.
It was wow.
Yeah, everything was on it. Everybody was on that side of town.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I like to tell people the fire department is always full. It's just a bunch of full circle moments. So this is interesting because I believe me and Travis, I don't know if you remember this call, we ran a call off of Old Oxford. There was a car and a bunch of teenage kids. They were joyriding. Some got ejected. And on the way to the call, we rode in the ambulance. And then because this was a trauma type patient, we took the clothes off and this kid was severely burned. And then Travis realized, or I don't know when exactly he found out, but you're like, yeah, that was one of the kids that I actually pulled out of the fire. It was like, they were a teenager now, they're a high schooler. And it was interesting that it was just this full service mode that we ran this call. And you're like, yeah, that's one of the kids I pulled out of the fire. And it was that same fire. That's crazy.
I ran 3 calls with those kids after.
That's wild.
And I remember that. I can't remember if I was only called at 9 because
I think you were on kid. You were captain at that time.
Right. That kid said evidently it just wasn't meant for him to go. Yeah, because he must have done different things and it just wasn't meant for him to go.
That's
for the fire, for the wreck, So like I said, everybody has several lives. That kid did.
That kid is definitely blessed, man. That's amazing. All right, so you guys split ways, right? You say you go to Station 1.
I go to Station 1. And so a very fortunate aspect of my career that helped me is to ride the rescue truck. We had to be an EMT, and that rescue truck at the time where it's hazmat TR, where I had my firefighting career, which at the time was the TR stuff before, and it was started TR full crank. And then I had my EMT and I got my hazmat. So I got to fill in on the rescue truck early, and we told you Row 5 on Engine 5.
Right.
Well, at the time they were remodeling Station 1, so Rescue 1 was running out of Station 2. So I got to go ride the rescue truck early in my career on C shift, and then when I went to Station 1, I got to fill in on the rescue truck a lot of the times until I got assigned.
And this one thing about this guy's gonna find a good assignment. He gonna find a way to get on the good rides. Rescue 1, Engine 5, and Station. He's been in East Durham, baby, his whole.
Well, you gotta remember, 5 back then was the West End. So the West End was every bit as crazy as East Durham, or as active. It's not crazy, but active. At that time, it was way more active. It was before things were revitalized. So thanks for catching. So we had a lot of things, and I mean, it was a pride thing that you were battle with the other companies in the city. You remember back then you only sent 2 engines. So if you only sent 2 engines, you really, to get work, it was only really 2 chances.
For those that don't know, because they don't understand how significant that is, right? Like, and shout out Chief Clemens at Redwood. He talks about this all the time about we were really men back there. We only had a red line and one truck and one but just because interesting thing about Captain Melvin, he does our mapping and he handles our districts and mapping, and so just give them an idea of how many trucks we send on a fire today. And it's not that it's a bad thing. It's actually better because we're being more effective, but just give them an idea of what we run today versus the 2 engines and 1 ladder.
Back then, you sent 2 engines, 1 ladder in the rescue truck, and 1 chief. Now you start with 4 engines, 2 ladders, a squad truck, a chief, 2 chiefs, the rescue truck, a safety officer, and a training officer. And then if it's a working fire, you add at least 2 more engines, QM1, MS1, FD8, the division chief, and I think that's everybody.
Yeah, so a lot more manpower.
A lot more manpower, a lot more roles are defined as far as who's going to do what. Back then, it was, you go put it out, and you did not want to call more people. If you couldn't put it out, and look, it was different, because once we knocked down the fire, our mask came off. So it wasn't like you were sitting there on air the whole time flying bottles. There are a lot of things that we do better for ourselves now to help.
But I will say, when I first started, I was under Papa Don, Captain DeShay, and we was firm believers in, hey, take that bottle off, we going back in. Like, that was like an old school mindset. Like, hey, we're gonna keep working. Like, we're gonna switch bottles out. Which, again, we're more efficient now. We're better now than we were. But I think that helped build the culture at Durham. Like, just as far as going to be go-getters.
Well, Durham didn't have the best equipment in the world. I mean, all our reserves were tailboards when I came on. Literally, I came out the academy, my first day working, I was riding a tailboard truck. And the thing, people riding tailboards in the fire service, that stuff you think of back in the day with full-up boots and stuff like that. That was Durham. So we were like, hey, we don't have the best equipment in the world. And a lot of the agencies around us have better equipment, especially the volunteers. And we were like, hey, we may not have the best equipment, but we're going to fight that fire. We're going to put it out. We took pride in going there and get it. And that was just all over our thing. That we may not have the best truck. We might be driving this green Ford C8000, but we're going to go in there, pull that line, and put that fire out.
Yeah,
Not terrible was terrible. Cold, raining, too hot. It didn't matter.
And the drivers always knew where every dog was in their head.
We had a driver that would always, and we doing territory stuff, always find a dirt road. And so he go down this dirt road, he would stop and all that dirt and dust would climb up on you. You standing there. Oh, man.
You mentioned territorial states. It's like a lost art in some cases these days. Because, and I I wasn't the best at studying my territory, but I remember like they had to run books, or you had to remember maps, and even I was telling one of the cadets that's in our cadet program, he was talking about just like the radio traffic and just remembering like we're talking about how the CAD you can read on the MBTs, or you can see on the CAD where you're going. I was like, when I first came on as a firefighter, your job was to remember the street and the off channel, because you didn't have a computer to go back and look at your captain didn't want to have to call back and say, hey, what's the off channel again? So I think even now, like with everything, technology is kind of like makes us a little bit worse as far as remembering.
It makes you lazy.
Oh yeah, I would say that. I would say that.
When in my day, you had to learn streets. You had to learn street. It was the driver, the guy that trained me. He said, you learn district, you learn your buildings, you learn all the equipment on your truck. If you do that, nobody will ever bother you. And I stayed at fire for a long time because I knew everything. I used to always tell people that if I add pistons, District 5, I know what those pistons. That's exactly what the pistons.
Nah, it was a couple of drivers, definitely that we knew that you got. So 5 was one of those districts because you had to deal with Duke a little bit as well.
Right.
Big John Leonard at Station 2, he was my driver when I first came out. He was at 2 for a while. Your Greg Holloman, all those people. Then once you get familiar with districts, especially difficult districts, then remember, we're better than we used to be, but you definitely want to keep that driver there.
Yeah, you can leave from there. And they used to always do street books. We used to do street books. You draw it and then you type it.
Yeah. Left turn here, when you turn here, yeah. I read street books, yeah. So we talked about what Travis did once he left 5. What did you do once you left 5?
I went to 9. I stayed at 9. I forget how long. Then I went back to 2. And then I went back to 5. And then I went to 12.
At what point did you promote to captain?
I promoted captain when I went to 12, which was, I can't remember how long, but the majority of my career, when I got promoted to my relief driver, I started driving. I hardly ever rode back a truck. Once I got...
How soon were you relief driver? Out of the academy.
My first 22 months was a waste of my career.
You not gonna let that 22 months go.
Just 22 months ago, I was told you could not get in front of the truck, you would not drive, you could not sit in front, nothing. And I wasted 22 months. All right. So then when I went to them 2 stations, I went there and I said, listen, I don't need y'all to work with me on book work. I got it. Only thing I need y'all to do is teach me how to drive, let me throw water, and I do the rest. So I did all that. So I got made quickly when I went in them 2 stations.
So you got your relief driver within like 2 years of being hired, right? Like 22 months?
No, 22 months plus probably about 4 to 6 more months.
Okay, so a little 2.5 years. All right.
Right, but everybody else was making it before that.
Okay.
Like I said, I had a difficult time at 7.
We're going to leave 7 out of it.
Yeah, but anyway, so I made it. And basically once I become a driver, I rode captain. I drove for a few months, and then they brought me up captain. I rode captain majority of my career, rest of my career.
Until you finally took that plunge.
And then I got promoted, and then
went to 12. What year was that you got promoted? Would you say you were in the department 20 plus years at that point?
Right, probably about 20.
20 years? All right.
So anyway, I got promoted, went to 12, stayed for a while, then I finished my career off at 8.
All right. So I'll ask you before I go to Captain Melvin, what made you want to become a captain?
Because the biggest thing that got me was I want to be a captain was because I had good captains and I had bad captains. And that I got tired of working with bad captains as I wanted to. I felt I had a whole lot of offer. I had guys that I could train. I enjoyed training, making relief drivers and all this stuff. I enjoyed that. So my biggest thing was once I become captain, I could do it the way I want to do it.
Now, was it hard for you to lead a driver road? Like you did it for 18 years or whatever?
No, it was not hard because I was in that role anyway. I just wasn't promoted to that role.
Okay.
I was in it, so it wasn't that hard for me.
All right. Captain Melvin, you went to 1, when did you promote to driver? And then what were your assignments there? And then we'll talk about how you.
So back then, active time could count towards your driver. It was either 97 and 98 that I got promoted. Because I was acting. I got my relief driver, and all my acting time from my relief driver counted towards promotion time, so I could come up early. And when I got promoted to driver, they had to go through a process because there were more slots than there were drivers. So back then, they just promoted everybody. Then they dropped the requirements in time, and then allowed their group behind us to compete. And that was the Andy Sinipolis, the Chief Swings.
They claim
now there's a king.
They claim to be the best academy.
No, they were just hand the favor. That's all there was. No, there were a lot of good guys. I mean, Eric Fruits and all that. A lot of really good guys that had really solid careers. But you got to think those guys got promoted before they got that longevity check, which was 5 years back then, because they dropped the time and they changed that. They haven't done anything like that since. So, I made driver. One of the things when I made drivers, every truck that I was on early in my career had multiple drivers. So when I was promoted to driver, I was actually assigned to rescue truck, but before that, I was acting on ladder 1 technically. So I technically was held acting on ladder 1 in 3, but I was riding a rescue truck. And then I got promoted and actually went to a slot when Captain Whitfield got promoted. It's either Captain Whitfield or Billy Lord. One of them got promoted. I actually got assigned to rescue truck.
Right, and then so you're at rescue, and then at what point, when I met you, you were on engine 3.
Right, so rescue gets taken out of service, go to 9 real quick before they open up TR at 7 when the Queen came in.
Okay.
And I was there, and I couldn't stand it because we didn't run with the county back then, and a lot around 7 people don't realize was in the county. So watching the fire truck drive by the front of the station and you're not going to the call, I was not for that. And I just want to go be in fire to run calls. And I was like, look, we're not going to do that. And then with the TRT team, and they had a plane crash out on 85 where a plane was up in a tree. Ladder 2 went and we didn't go. Said, I'm out. Put a letter in to go to 3. I said, they're not going to call us when we have TR. We're doing all this training. We're not going to go to the calls when they have them. Not going to run the calls that are around me. I want to go somewhere and fight fire. I put in a letter to go to 3. Captain Boone wanted me to come there. Just reached out to me. It worked out. I went to 3 and I was at 3. Why do you?
Yeah, because when I came out 06. Do you want to talk about how we met? I'll let you tell your version because I didn't tell my version. I'll let you tell your version, and then I'll talk about the call that we had together. That was kind of like I guess one of the more important calls of my career, as far as like just experience how it changed my perspective. So we'll let you tell your little story. First of all, if he's opened his mouth, it's probably not going to be the truth. I'll just let you know. But we're going to let him say.
I mean, all I know is it's true, and I go get Antoine and he'll confirm.
He's already told his version. But I'll let you tell your version but I know you're gonna put spice on it because it's
all right. So there was this young man that came with her grandfather to the fire station. You know, he came this shy, quiet guy. He wasn't as thick-headed and as boisterous as I was at his age. He was a little shy and sensitive. And he came walking up to the door and knocked the ring doorbell, and I'm sitting in the office, and it was Khalil and trying to answer the door.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm going to be in the fire department.
This is where the song started. This is where
I'm going to be in the fire department. So I was sitting in the office, and I can't remember which one said it, but they said, we don't do that volunteers. Boom, shut the door in his face.
That is definitely a fact. That happened for it.
So I bust out laughing, man. I jump up. So the entirety of my career until we consolidated with the county department, I worked at one of the county departments within Durham County. So I was at Parkwood, then I went to Bahama, then I went to Bethesda, and I worked at Bahama and Bethesda, then stayed at Bethesda until they became Durham County Fire Rescue. Left, came back, and then when they merged with Durham, that's when I stopped being a part of the county fire departments. So I was part of Bethesda, which was down the street from 3, our district shared a borderline, and they had volunteers there, and they had part-timers there, and a full-time staff. So I was sort of in tune with the neighboring agencies, and so I jumped up, grabbed them, talked to them, found out about his interests, gave him direction, got him on the phone with Redwood, told him Redwood was more volunteer than we were. Bethesda was more like full-timers and part-timers working their way to full-timers. So I wanted him to go somewhere where he could volunteer and get more of that aspect and get his foot in the door, which is Redwood, because they didn't have a big full-time staff back then. I don't think they have any full-time.
No, we don't have any full-timers.
So I sort of talked to him, stayed with his career, and Al gave us some advice and stayed with him through the hiring process and sort of kept my eye on him through his career.
All right, so most of that was true, except for the I don't even talk like that.
How do you say it?
I say, hey, I want to know how the volume was not that.
About it.
I'm trying to figure out.
12 pounds and nothing but mouth.
12 pounds with a brick in your pocket is wild. Hey, listen, no, you did. So I said on the podcast before, so I'll give you your flowers down to your face. I do appreciate you taking the time out to coach me through that situation, because beyond just calling Redwood, you actually, and we'll talk about this because we had Black History Month, you actually helped me. You gave me some information about a practice hiring session that the actual Bull City Professional Firefighter Association was putting on. I think they said that right?
Yeah.
So, and both of you gentlemen are members, and Travis, you're actually a president right now, and Captain Thaxton, I don't know if you were ever, but you both have been very active in it, right? So that in itself helped me, because, I mean, while I was volunteer at Redwood at the time, and I had been up there for like a year before I got hired, if you've never applied before, going into a process blindly, the fire department hiring process is different than a lot of hiring processes that you'll probably run across. It's not like your typical blue collar, not blue collar, but your typical process if you would go to a bank or something like that. Like, it's very different. So just putting me on, and you guys, I remember Captain Stroud was there that morning. I remember certain people were there, and just you guys let us go through the Biddle test. At the time we did not the Biddle test. We went through the fitness assessment, went through the maze and everything. You guys taught us through it. So I do appreciate that aspect. And both of you guys actually, like I said, you gave me advice early on, but I want to focus on the Bull City Professional Firefighters Association and just, what you guys do, what you have done, and just talk about that real quick, and just how you got into that aspect, and what you guys look forward to seeing happen with that.
Yeah, when it first started, I think it was Chief Hagan and Juan DeShazer. I believe those were the ones who really got it started. And basically was doing things in the community, going into the community, talking to people of color, talking to kids. We went to schools, with some schools. We took up money. We bought supplies for kids and all that stuff. We were doing basic stuff for the community, always. And then, of course, we did, we had our Christmas party. We did things for us also. But basically, the backbone of all it was doing things in the community.
Bring back the Christmas party, too. Like, everybody bring back the Christmas party. We had a good Christmas party forever. Like, it used to be a big thing. Bring it back. But go ahead. I'll let you finish.
Well, Christmas party, you got to talk to Leon Justice. But anyway, but Bull City, that's what it was started for, doing stuff in the community. Doing stuff, going out, talking to people. People have fire, something. You may go out and try to help them. We do smoke detectors. It was a range, a variety of things that we were doing at the time. But for what's happening today and all this stuff, you got to talk to Travis.
Captain Melvin, I believe that's your cue.
Community oriented. We love Durham. A lot of us live in Durham. I want to support the community. It's been great to me. I love the city of Durham. I love the city of Durham Fire Department. When we can represent them and reach out to people of color and support them. And we support all people, but we got to understand the roots of where we're born organizations that were different. When there was a time where everybody could be involved, and you wanted to make sure that the people felt were represented properly and given a fair shake. And we reached out to the community and took care of people in the community. And I mean, as now we do a blood drives, multiple blood drives. We do turkey drives. During the holidays, we reach out. We try to adopt a family whenever they have a fire around the holidays. We're trying to get way more active as far as doing social events with each other as well to make sure we have community amongst ourselves to reach out. And it's actually a very diverse group as far as people that contribute to it. It's not just there was a time that it was a black firefighters only, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, our roots were in that because we had to have our organization so that would represent us because we couldn't be a part of certain organizations at a time. But we're about the community and about the fire department. I take pride in the fact that we're a diverse group. All you gotta do is contribute give your contribution, and then you're a part of the group. and we hope, because we're so active, there are times that we can't always support everybody that needs support. So we need active members in the fire department to become Bull City members and join and be a part of it.
We want you, if you want to help out, be a support to the community within the fire department, please contact any member of the Bull City Professional Firefighter Association. They have an Instagram. I don't know if that Facebook is still up, but they have Instagram, they have Facebook. You see the man, the myth, the legend here. Please reach out and be of help. And shout out, we're going to actually have Rev on later on this month, who was a former president of the Bull City Professional Firefighter Association. Yeah, so we'll have Rev on, Captain Terrence Smith on later on. So listen, we've been talking. I told you, look at the time. Look at the time of that. You see it? All right. We've been talking for a minute, so I do have a couple questions I want to get out of here. And I'll let you guys go because we do talking about meeting up and create community. We have a luncheon to go to with the Bull City Professional Firefighter Association. So
and talk about that real quick. I mean, it's a luncheon for us to have a meeting. Our meetings, our quarterly meetings, to discuss, but we're getting with the retirees, and we ought to get the fellowship, and our new people get to talk to the older people and understand pitfalls, understand things they can do for growth, and gain knowledge. Can keep that knowledge shared and going, so things don't get forgot, and we know where we came from.
Yeah, that's definitely it's definitely about. It's good to learn your history because a lot of those older guys do come out and they have vast history from even before Captain Thaxton was here. So
first class, a public safety, all the way up. Yeah, so it's a good thing.
Yeah, it's always good whenever retirees can come and just stay again where we preach on them just being a community and just it's good for everybody just to be able to reach out and still be there and contact each other. That being said, I want to know, you guys gave me advice going along. You giving me advice going along. And I didn't get into our call. We'll have a separate episode. We'll talk about that. But what's some advice you would give someone trying to get to this department? I want you to look at the camera. What advice would you give to them trying to get into the department? And what advice you would give to them once they get hired? Because I know you used to ride me all the time and say, you big-headed. You used to be very cocky, which is funny to hear that this man was very cocky. But what advice would you give someone looking to get to the job? And then what advice would you give to them once they get into the job? Onto the job, Mike?
My advice is, first of all, if you get hired, keep yourself clean, do what you're supposed to, and strive to advance. Don't just come here to sit. If you was on a truck with me, I would not allow anybody to sit. You don't be a relief driver, or you go someplace else to sit, but not on my truck. So work on your craft, work to help your team, and be smart what you're doing.
And that's exactly what he told me when he saw me. When I told him I wasn't a relief driver, he said, "Why ain't you?" He was on my tail. I can tell you that much. Captain Melvin, what advice do you have for someone looking to get into it, and then once they get hired?
People looking to get into turn off the fire shows. They're ruining the thought of what a fire service is. They think everybody's getting together to have relations and have inappropriate, and they're worried about the party and the relationships and all that stuff. There's a lot of camaraderie and a lot of things to come in time. But those relationships come in time. If you're walking in the door and that's what you're worried about, you worry about the wrong thing. Because I got to trust you to be able to go in this fire and not get yourself killed or not get me killed. And most importantly, not get the resident killed and save their property. So that's what I'm worried about before I'm worried about going out and having drinks and having parties and everybody hanging out and all that stuff. There's a place for that. And that'll come in time when we gain trust. So what you need to focus on is worrying about getting in the door, making sure you can pass an academy. You're going back to school. You may not have been to school in a while, so you got to learn how to study. You got to learn how to prepare yourself. And you have to say, if I want to get in the door, this is a lot of hard work. Don't waste your time going through all this academy to fail out because you didn't put the effort into it you need to. And things are going to happen while you're in the academy, just like things happen to us while at work. Life's going to happen. And we still have to come to work. You still have to come to the academy and perform and get through. Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody will, hey, it is life. And you have to push through it if you want to do this job. And once you get in the field, don't sit around and be lazy. I ride a busy truck right now, and I've been here way past 30 years. I've been on busy companies my whole career because I want to make a difference. Come in the door, wanting to make a difference. Be involved. I'm on several committees. I don't sit back and complain. I was so sick of people that all they want to do is sit back and complain, but they won't do anything to make the place better. Come with attitude of making the place better and be a sponge and learn and shut your mouth.
Heavy on know your role and shut your mouth. No, something that I hear all the time, and some advice people give to the people that do ride loans and just interested in the job. A lot of times they say, yo, you're blessed with 2 ears, 1 mouth for a reason. So make sure you utilize it. And that is very important. And as I'll just echo what Captain Travis says, make sure, like, don't come in here, don't get lazy. Make sure always better yourself, as Captain Thaxton was saying. And, everything is earned here. Nothing's given. So you want to be on that busy engine company. You want to be at that busy station. You got to put in the work. Now, just another question for you guys. What's the biggest lesson you learned in the fire service that you learned and you carry with you into your career?
Mine was, don't be lazy, like you said, and work on your craft, work to advance your craft. Be a good teammate. Be a teammate. By that is, work well with your coworkers. Work well with your coworkers, and everything else will fall into place.
No. Everybody does not have your best interest at heart. And if you're aggressive and you're a go-getter and you want to take classes, you want to be better, there are people that will literally try to hold that over your head and make you feel like that's a bad thing. And they would tell you things like, well, you don't need to promote right now. You need to wait, learn a little bit more. But if you go into all the classes, you try to be on bigger companies, you'll learn while you're doing work. Don't let anybody hold you back and stunt your career. If you want to advance, you advance, but you need to do the work to make sure you're prepared to be advanced.
Amen. Hey, listen, I appreciate you guys coming. I touched on a little bit. Is there anything that I didn't mention that I feel like I should have mentioned in your history, man? You driver, captain. What was your favorite assignment?
Station 5.
Station 5.
That was the best assignment in the whole city.
That's your favorite job? Driver was your favorite job?
Drivers was it at Station 5. And then once I got promoted to captain, I would have liked to go back to 5, but I didn't. But Station 5 to me was the best station in the whole city.
Why was that?
Because you got the variety of calls, you got the variety of people. It wasn't like you just run to one particular type person all the time. You run to all people, everybody. So the assignments was great.
It is a very diverse district. One of the more diverse districts in the city. What about you, Captain Melvin? What was your favorite assignment and why? And your favorite assignment, your favorite position?
Old school rescue truck. I mean, you go into every fire in the city. You go into every extrication in the city, so it's not fair, right? That's always going to be first. But I'll say this. I had some of the best captains that you could ever have in your career that molded my career in so many different ways. I was spoiled to the greatness, and I almost don't even want to try to name names because I will forget some of them, but unintentional. But I literally had legends in the fire department be my captains, and I had legends in the fire department as chiefs. I came here with a lot of senior captains and chiefs. So my answer is going to be, I had a lot of good companies, and I hate to say split here, but say the difference between them, because I had that many good officers. And maybe when I'm talking individually, when I go in the next interview, I might get into some of that, but I just don't even think the spirit of compare was outside of that, whatever company I was on is the best company at the time. Period.
Sounds like a very PC answer, but no, I respect it. But what was your favorite position in?
So remember I told you every company I was on had multiple drivers, except with the exception of when they got rid of the second driver on the ladder when I drove ladder one the second time. So I would I love being on companies that had multiple driver decisions. Engine 3 was great for that, because I would like work with Jim or work with Jimmy or work with Marty or work whatever. Be like, look, man, the goal was to be in a fire, right? So I'd be like, hey, my driver turn, you take my driver turn, I ride captain, it's your turn to ride cap. Because I didn't care what I had to do, what I had to write reports or whatever. The goal is to be inside the fire.
Oh, he pulled up Brian Perry. That's what Brian Perry used to do. He used to get Kelly Mack to drive.
So I actually laughed when Sean Williams posts some video footage sometimes with me driving, because that was so rare. Because unless it was a ladder truck or the rescue, I wanted to be on the back or ride captain so I could get in the fire. And ultimately, that was a big part of me wanting to go for captain, because it was like, hey, guess what? If I ride captain, I get to.
Speaking, look, because listen, I remember when you weren't thinking about going for captain.
Correct.
And we was at Elmo's, and I pulled Captain Thaxton. I was like, you got to do it, man. You got to do it for the representation. Like, you got to do it, man. You're knowledgeable, you all these things. And you went for it, and you got it. I'm actually,
well, my leaders, they got me one way. Pretty much, they told me, you going to go or you never going to ride the back of a truck again. So I was going to go.
Hey,
they had me acting. I was acting all the time. So once I started acting, it was like, hey.
at that time, at that time, I'm not going to blame anybody or any reason, but at that time when he went up for captain, he was at Station 2 with us. His driver was my man, Edwin McDonald. Hey, my man.
My driver was Holder, but they hustled Holder over to the ladder 2, and they sent Edwin to me as a project. That was very interesting, to say the least.
There was hey, Edwin, my guy, I love Edwin. We gonna have some conversations, man. Edwin's my guy. I want Edwin, come on, do the pod. All right, listen. I appreciate you guys coming, man. I felt like this was a great conversation. Do you guys have any final thoughts? Any things you want to say before you head out? And then I'll let Patrick say some final thoughts.
I'm good at this time. But like I said, it's a good career. Good career. I had 32.8 years in. Good career.
Would you do it again?
I would. Be glad to do it again. If I was 20 years young, well, actually 30 years young, be glad.
All right. Cat Melvin, you got any final thoughts?
This is the best thing in the world to ever do. I mean, I can't think of anything else. I see so many people that work in so many different places that in so many different career types. And let's not even talk about career types. Let's talk about this organization and give a shout out to the City of Durham Fire Department. City Fire Department, Durham Fire Department owes me nothing. It was great to me. My mom passed, they had my back, and they took care of me, and they made sure I had the time I needed to heal and take care of the business I had to take care of, and they supported me. There's not many places that will take care of their employees like they have taken care of me. If they get it right 100% of the time, no, but they get it right way more than they don't. And I think if you come here and you give a great effort, they will take care of you, and they'll bend over backwards for you. I know I worked at a lot of volunteer departments with a lot of other people that worked at a lot of other fire departments, and they don't have the same good times and great stories and do the work in the way we do the work like we do in Durham Fire Department. We still fight fire. We still care. Come to Durham. And these other places, y'all do all right, but you're not Durham.
Hey, Patrick, clip that up, man. Hey, clip that up, man. Yeah. Again, we got the legendary 6'9" Captain Charles Thaxton. Thank you for your time, sir. He did everything. He did all the things all the way up into captain, and we appreciate you and continue to appreciate you. Bull City legend, Bull City Professional Firefighter Association, and then we got Captain Melvin, legendary It'll be hard to find someone who's been in many fires and then seen as much action as Captain Melvin, president of the Bull City Professional Firefighter Association. He is our map and district guy. He does a lot of stuff, so I don't want to. It's too much to list off. But thank you for your time, sir. And Patrick, you got anything left to say?
Yeah, I got a couple things. First, a little fact checking. The Freedom House started in, from what I saw, New York. I got New York on that. When I googled Pittsburgh. I googled Pittsburgh. You Google. I'm not the best at Googling, but I got New York. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you both captains for being here. If you guys don't already, give us 5 stars, review us, whether or not you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or YouTube, wherever you're watching us. Go ahead and give us 5 stars. Give us a review. Subscribe. That helps us grow. That helps us do this a little bit better. We enjoy doing it here and making some content for you firefighters that like hearing firefighting content. With that said, Tim, take us.
Hey, man. You reached another episode of Bull City Bravest podcast. Appreciate you listening. If you have any questions, concerns, thoughts, opinions, please share, on social media. If you're looking to get hired by the Durham Fire Department, contact me at 919-699-1283. That's my number directly. Outside of that, man, happy Black History Month. This is another episode of Bull City Bravest, and I'm signing off.